Unfortunately for Envy and their fans, Most Wanted able to turn it right back around and answer back. Picks and bans for game number 2. Envy get the first selection this time.
We'll see if they elect to go for another Giannis first pick. I expect them to actually go for that route again. It was good mobility for them, providing a lot of clutch escapes at the prime opportunities, as well as those 6 snipes, man. I just don't expect Most Wanted to maybe let it go. They did ban away the Athena and the Terra the first time around, so that could be something that Most Wanted exploit.
Jingwei banned by Envy. Absolutely necessary, if you ask me. Most Wanted, a couple of games now, basically, when they get to the late game, DayToRemeber just plays Jingwei and allows them to win these team fights. Frequently, you see, and it reminds me of some of the other teams that lean on their late game hunters. If you want to look towards like Barracuda and stuff, where all right, the team fight's going all right, the hunter gets a double kill, and now we win the game, right? That's what's happened in game number 3 versus Aduro and Noble, and that's what happened in game number 1 here of Envy versus Most Wanted. Most Wanted sort of forget about the whole Ra situation, and they're going to let it go on through. We'll see how Team Money reacts on this character.
Well,
or if Kiki plays him in the solo lane.
I was about to mention that as well, but Most Wanted have some anti-heal options. They could potentially pull out the Odin if they really want to. They have the Circuit potentially onto Plazma. We'll see if that's a god that's in his arsenal.
I'll be honest. As the Nemesis selected, well, that's not going to be the Circuit, but I would not want to see the Odin on Aquarius, simply because Aquarius has been a high-impact player, and frankly, I think Odin is a low-impact character outside of the ring, and for Most Wanted to be successful, I think that they need to have a high-impact character in the hands of Aquarius. He's been too important in these team fights to allow him to just sort of Gungnir Smite people a little bit. He needs to have he needs to be piloting a high-impact character, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Odin is more known for being kind of an ult bot, right? So you normally see Odin's being played in the support position, but with Bacchus being locked in for NikHaro, probably not going to see that option. They want to get that Nemesis Bacchus for the burst damage potential. We're going to see what Most Wanted wants to pick up in the mid lane, trying to synergize with all that damage.
Fafnir selected. It's been a while since we've seen him. And Envy going to, honestly, I like the draft so far. The Ra, the Ram, the Faf. Most Wanted's going to elect for the Soul for DayToRemeber, or possibly the mid lane. I historically am not a really big fan of this character, and I will be very interested to see how DayToRemeber really pilots her.
I would expect another Agni out of ManRay if I were to guess. Honestly, Soul would be really good for DayToRemeber here, just trying to control against the Rama. We saw how impactful he was against Wowie's Rama.
Yeah.
I think it was in the very first game against Noble, where he had a 2-level lead at one point in time. He was being able to really lock this down, but EnVyUs playing it rather safe than sorry. They don't really want to have that Odin being picked for Most Wanted, negating the heals coming out of Kiki. Or not Kiki. He's not mid anymore.
No, I know what you mean. But no, and you know, going sort of against what I was saying about the Soul, her laning phase is fantastic, and this is the strategy that we see teams, not just Most Wanted, but other teams have taken against characters like Ram, is dominate him in the laning phase. Soul did that in game number 1 of our last set very well. Most Wanted able to do so.
Ooh.
And they're going to have the Neith, so we might be able to see this mid lane Neith.
Absolutely. I like this idea because now Nemesis can ping pong between either side lane that she really wants to. As long as you have that Neith in the mid lane, the World Weaver will travel along with that jungler, trying to exploit either the solo or the hunter, which could be a good idea, trying to shut down this Rama, allowing DayToRemeber on the Soul to get even further ahead.
And, you know, I think this is a treat for us watching Most Wanted, because this is sort of the third play style coming out for them. We've seen hyper aggression coming out in the mid lane from ManRay, right, on both the Scylla and the Glass Cannon Ra, and then we saw Setup Man come out in the mid lane. So 2 different play styles right there. And now Neith is Setup Man, but it's that Hunter mid, so it should be very interesting. And there's the Kiki that we were talking about. Actually, nah, son, that's going to be a jungle Loki?
It is. It's double Guardian. Yes, it's Fafnir,
Loki.
Sobek, so that means Kiki will be playing the Sobek in that solo lane. Skeeledon looking for a more split push kind of style, with Bastet still being up, electing to go for the Loki instead. This is going to be one of the weakest solo junglers at level 1, but Most Wanted picking up Xing Chen
Nemesis
anyway.
and, yeah.
The Nemesis Xing Chen is not going to really want to invade into that anyway. So I don't expect any sort of aggressive style right off the bat with Most Wanted.
This is honestly a spicy matchup. I'm excited to see this year. These are two not completely off-the-wall baddie lineups, but two very different and interesting lineups. Kiki's going to be playing on that solo Beck, like we said. We're going to see the jungle Loki. I'm sorry for everybody that plays ranked. You're going to be seeing that jungle Loki around. Team Money dropping the money sign. Got to respect that one. But like we said, again, Most Wanted throwing us for a loop. I'm very interested to see how this one works out. Aquarius on the Guardian, ManRay on the Neith. This is like I said, a third playstyle swap for Most Wanted. And that's very interesting to me to see a team that is, you know, such a new team, such an inexperienced team as far as the big stage is concerned, bring out all of these different play styles, because that's, you sort of master one, right? And then you master a second. To have three separate shots, I mean, this is interesting. And
a different playstyle from both soul laners as well, going from warriors into guardians, pulling a page out of EnVyUs' book when we saw him just absolutely devastate every single soul laner, having the rafts available just to be able to confirm your own blue buff. So now it's going to make it very tricky for Skeeledon or Plazma to try to exploit that Guardian and look for the invades. If they want to find the buffs, they have to kill the Guardian first.
So Loki has been, when Loki is played on a professional competitive level, we really only see it in the solo lane. Shouts to Wolves over on the console version of Most Wanted. Most Wanted have an extremely dominant console team in the SCL. Wolves is one of the more dominant players in the entirety of that league, and he's known for a Loki solo. In fact, it's banned against him. The reason that we don't see Loki in the jungle is because his clear is, frankly, abysmal. I'm really expecting to see Most Wanted to try to sort of combat that, although Nemesis doesn't really clear that well herself either. So Skeeledon right here, it's all about how well he can sort of escape this early game, because he has really no clear at all.
But honestly, it's going to be very tricky to survive against ManRay playing the Neith here. That World Weaver might potentially lock down Skeeledon if he gets away with little health, using that ultimate for an escape. That will find a kill. Now, the timing of the Loki pick was just so important also. It was near the later stages of the picks and bans, and electing to go for Xing Chen for Most Wanted just to be able to counteract Kiki having some control with that Sobek. I would have liked to see Osiris maybe, just to be able to tether the Loki, see where the stealth is coming from. But on the other side, they're trying, Most Wanted is trying to play more around the team fight than anything else.
Well, in that regard, Aquarius does have the dot with the Furious Roar that will keep eyes on Loki. Anything that, you know, does damage over time will keep the numbers popping over the invisible character, so you'll be able to keep eyes on that. And here, exactly, Most Wanted going for the aggressive invade, understanding that the early game Loki not going to really have that clear. They're going to go directly for the invade.
But now it's going to allow EnVyUs to clear the mid wave first with the Ra and the Loki. Still has to clear out those melee minions, so they're going to drop a heal for Team Money. Going to hit level 5 first. It's going to be a counter invade out of EnVyUs, just keeping up the pace. Team Money hitting level 5 first.
So there's the counter. I want to see Most Wanted collapse. No, not gonna. And this is look at the pathing.
They could gank that solo lane here. That could be a good option. Team Money does have the snipe, but expecting not to really go for that option. They want to get the guaranteed mid farm instead, because it is still pretty difficult to lock down a Guardian. Just now hitting level 5 is Aquarius.
And skilled on this Loki, we've spoken all about sort of the negative sides of Loki, right? And how terrible his early game is, etc. But here, you know, not going for that gank. I think if you're looking at a different jungler, you probably go for that gank due to your aggressive pathing. But Loki, the whole idea here is to just force him out of the early game. Because as I said, we've sort of focused on the negatives of Loki, but at the end of the day, Loki will delete players like DayToRemeber. He will delete ManRay on that mid lane Neith. These are characters that he chooses a character, he ults them, and they blow up. That's his entire game plan. So force him out of the early game by way of invades and just forcing the farm onto him. And then once he hits, level 12 or so, where does Loki really start to swing?
Loki starts to swing once he gets that aim strike, that third ability a little bit maxed off. And this is the difference between solo Loki and jungle Loki.
Okay.
As a solo lane Loki, you're looking to max out that decoy, right? You're probably going to be building into the Transcendence. You want to be able to get the stacks online as early as possible. But in the jungle position, you're trying to get off the damage. So that's why you're maxing out the aim strike. Instead instead of using the decoy to clear the mini wave, you're relying on your Raw to do so after you drop it in the mid wave. So once Skeeledon starts ping-ponging between these side lanes, that aim strike, before the Sanctuaries come out, is going to be 100% efficient.
You know, I'm so interested. I feel like Loki is the quintessential jungler, but he is just bad in the jungle, right? You know, he's a sneaky assassin, he's got invisibility, he's a prize who ganks you when you die. Thinking back historically, Toli, are there any junglers that have really been known for a Loki? I feel like Laz's comes to mind, but I don't really think there's ever been... Xing?
Xing.
Yeah?
Xing was very well known for his Loki play. He definitely liked to explore that option. The Raw Snipe hitting 2 members from Most Wanted. I'm not really sure if Team Money's secured any of those Harpies, but still going to poke out Most Wanted a little bit longer. EnVyUs could look to play aggressive here.
Maybe a little bit. Skeeledon certainly has the ultimate online and ready to go.
No mana onto Team Money, unfortunately, so going to have to back off there. And we haven't actually talked about the solo lane matchup between Aquarius and Kiki. Having that 1 level lead, as well as being able to get the earlier Fire Giant Elemental, should be able to get the second round as well with his abilities coming back up. And the difference between these two is the fact that Kiki can use his ultimate to stay in the laning phase as long as possible, getting that mana regen back online, which is why we saw Aquarius having to back earlier on, missing out on that such important experience. Kiki's almost level 9. Aquarius not level 8 yet.
Only a solo laner would want to talk about the Sobek Xing matchup. I mean, they're 2 guardians. They're just going to smack each other.
Hey, it's more interesting than you think, all right, man? Look at that. Kiki hitting level 9. That's impressive solo
Look how
play.
interesting this one is.
Well, it's all about min-maxing, right? Aquarius barely 8.5, Kiki level 9.
Okay. No,
that's impressive.
Yeah, no.
It's the little things, man.
And like you said, it all comes down to the fact that Kiki's ultimate's going to give him a lot of sustain. In practice, it's really not that interesting to watch. You just see 2 guardians sort of slap each other around, but it's really like these choices aren't here. And some of the choices that we saw earlier with Walrus on the Sun Wukong and Aquarius fighting him on the Amaterasu, don't expect that style of fireworks here.
It's not flashy, no.
No, not at all. But the impact that these 2 characters make in the team fights later on is going to be immense. You already see the power boots coming out from the Sobek. That's one of the nice things that putting him in the solo lane allows you to do. He gets a little bit more power in that regard, and knowing Kiki, expect to see maybe even a Void Stone, a little bit more power, not just pure tank. The Xing on the other hand, he's going to be able to slow down some of the in-hand effects out of Cabom and Skeeledon for what it's worth. That aim strike going to be a big part of his damage. NikHaro gets ulted. He's able to find a way out, however. Just
Neith ultimate, finding the first blood. We were talking about that opportunity. Skeeledon not able to find the kill because, the snipes though from Cabom. Trading 1 for 1. Great rotation from Cabom, but like we mentioned before, there needs to be synergy between Skeeledon and Team Money. The snipe from Team Money wasn't immediately used. He used his first ability instead, the Celestial Beam. So now that's going to allow Most Wanted to take advantage of Skeeledon's death, invading that speed buff, stripping away that golden experience.
And that is a very troublesome mistake for Envy, right? It just seems, hey, they were able to answer back. It's 1-1, no big deal. But I'm not concerned about the effect of that dropped kill. I'm concerned about how that will continue going forward. If you're gonna pick this Loki Raw combination, there's no room for error. That has to be a kill. As a broadcaster, I assumed that was going to be a kill, and the fact that it's not makes me concerned. In the late game, that has to be a kill, no option. Here comes the transformation out of the NeiruMah, and Team Money's able to get the kill this time around. Skeeledon finds another one. That's going to be 3 in total, 2 in this team fight. Envy make that one count, and now they're looking for gold.
They're going to try to pull this one now. NeiruMah's going to tank it up, but he has to reset it onto Skeeledon. On the backhand side, we do see Plazma could look for the potential steal, but not there quite in time. Going to bait it out with the shield a little bit longer. The root is good from ManRay from a distance. Plazma dashing away, but the ultimate from Skeeledon comes back, so trading 1 for 1.
Yeah, and that's what the Loki's supposed to do! ManRay finds the shot. Team Money in the face. 2
ultimates in a row, finding the target that they wanted to. ManRay getting the kills, hitting level 11 now off of this, getting that 1 level lead over Team Money. So a great usage of this global presence so far. And look at this. Now the contestment from Kiki, he might have gotten caught a little bit too overzealous, but there's no mana for ManRay to lock down this target.
Even still, there's a couple of other players there. Kiki wiggles his way out of trouble, but here comes the spin around. Kiki tossed under the tower. 1 shot. 1 kill, it's 4-4.
The problem is when Sobeks invade the blue buff, they have to commit their ultimate to try to get the damage off. The third ability and the second one is just not enough to really confirm it, even with the Wrath potentially on Sobek, which I believe was on cooldown at the time. So without that CC immunity just now coming back online, Aquarius gets a guaranteed pull under the tower, a free kill for Most Wanted.
He is going to start swinging though, as I predicted. There's the Void Stone coming out onto the Sobek. He's definitely, Kiki is definitely one of these more aggressive solo laners, believe it or not, and he's going to make an impact on this Sobek. Sobek does a ton of damage, and you know, Sobek can solo players, right?
Yeah.
You hit him with the sickening strike after 3 or 4 items, you hit him with a knock-up, and all of a sudden, you're half HP and you know the ult's gonna kill you. Sobek is a scary Guardian.
But Xing Chen does a lot of damage as well. If it wasn't for that rock heal, Skeeledon would be sitting at about half health off of 2 abilities and a couple of in-hands. So we're going to see a little bit of a grouping up in the solo lane now, taking a lot of damage. Plazma gets deleted. He didn't get off his Nemesis shield in time. I think they're trying to bait out these team fights on Most Wanted because they're still relying on ManRay's global presence.
And here's another thing, you know, that's sort of the side buff that's bringing one of the reasons that we see Loki's return to the jungle is going to be the hi-rez Lament buff.
Yep.
This item has obviously been all over junglers, and it's really basically Loki's whole gimmick is he ults you, and it's not the ult that kills you. It's the follow-up hit of Aim Strike. Aim Strike just makes his next basic attack hit you for a zillion, right? So the follow-up damage coming from the hi-rez Lament, it just goes hand in hand, quite literally, with exactly what Loki wants to do.
It's Loki and Bats that benefit mostly from this hi-rez Lament resurgence, and we see in the jungle meta. So this is why we see that. But a belly flop onto Skeeledon, Intoxicate. He doesn't have the ultimate. The snipe does not really do too much there, but it's still going to be aggression from NeiruMah. He's in the dragon form. He's going to be able to jump away from that one. Still relying on that global presence from Neith, waiting for that right low target to get a kill.
So DayToRemeber versus Cabom here. It's been very quiet. That's kind of what you expect out of both the Ram, he's waiting till later, and the Soul, he's just kind of making sure that Ram doesn't rotate. Ram made the half rotation before and was able to make it count with the turnaround kill in that mid lane beforehand. But right now, everything's sort of going exactly the way as it's supposed to on that left side. Honestly, for both teams, everything working out. Kiki's going to get surrounded by 2 here in the solo lane, but not that big of a deal. Finds safety underneath the tower. And with just under 12 minutes on the clock, Envy leading by a kill and about 2,000 gold. Kabob's the focus, gets ulted by 1 player, gets ulted by a second, able to avoid the secondary initiation. But here comes Loki. DayToRemeber's in trouble. A couple of basics will do it. And Skeeledon finds another kill. He's 4 deep.
Perfect rotation coming out of Skeeledon, just maybe being able to wrap around behind the Soul player. And now the counter rotation coming out of NikHaro finds the stun and finds the candy cane smack to the face. It's not even Christmas yet, but he's celebrating early.
Nah, NikHaro is like one of these annoying little retail stores that, you know, the second you start smelling Thanksgiving, you just also see the Christmas decorations go up. That's NikHaro right here. He's like, nah, man, I'm gonna be festive a month early. And Halloween's over, and I love the taunt coming out. You get soloed by a Bacchus that doesn't use Intoxicate, you better expect to get taunted. Or
a clap. I think clap is even worse than a taunt at this point in time, honestly. I love that emote. That's one of my favorite ones now.
I love to see the...
was it Dardes that started doing it first?
Yeah. It's you know what? It's like all things obnoxious, it's got to be Frezzy. I think
that's
Frezzy.
Right, yeah.
It was probably Frezzy over there playing for Team Dignitas next to Suntouch. That is the team that will move on to the Super Regionals out of the European Gauntlet. So very big plays coming out from Frezzy and the guys on Dig over there. Most Wanted making their combat plays over here, and we'll see how it works out.
So now just still both teams wanting to wait for that timing to go for the goal here. It's still too even despite EnVyUs having about a 2,000 gold lead. Up until the rotations come out of these Guardians with the Rafts, you don't really want to explore that option quite yet. There's too much kill potential to be going on.
So Skeeledon has been very successful here on this Loki. Like we said, a number of different things have really brought him to prominence, him being Loki. But Skeeledon has been successful with it, which is, you know, kind of the big if. The Loki can be shut down and then have 0 impact, but this is the other side. He's having a huge impact right here. What does Most Wanted do to counteract this, whether it's ward placement or item purchase? How does Most Wanted really deal with a Loki? They
just have to make sure that they keep the map lit up like a Christmas tree, honestly. They have to spot out what direction of the map Skeeledon is at. If he's on the right, okay, we can be aggressive on the left, or vice versa, right? You just have to make sure that you have a little ticking time bomb in your head and respect the cooldowns coming out of Skeeledon. He's going to be able to just do so much damage with that hi-rez Lament. If you don't have your Sanctuary available, then you cannot be anywhere near him.
So it's just all about being aware. Exactly.
Pretty much.
Man, it's not exactly a good prescription.
Not at all.
so you know, once this Loki gets off to a tear, he's kind of just a menace here in the jungle. Most Wanted just kind of have to cross their fingers and place a lot of aggressive wards and hope, really, that they can see the Skeeledon. They've got a couple of dots at their disposal. Well, actually, it's just Aquarius, so that'll help players keep tabs on Loki. But that's it, really.
Ooh, the Purification now being utilized. The ultimate from the World Weaver coupled up, but he doesn't find the last in here. But yet again, oh, if he used the Intoxicate, that would have been a kill.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. And now Santa's in trouble. Cabom puts him down. NikHaro can't find the kill that time. And now somebody else is going to be able to taunt.
And that's what makes Loki's just so annoying to be played against. Getting them so low, they use the stealth. They get increased movement speed during the stealth. You don't really know where they're going. And Most Wanted now, they're going to try to get this Gold Fury, but the rotation from Kiki on the left-hand side. The ultimate from Team Money doing a lot of damage, but now getting turned on by Plazma.
Gold Fury goes the way of Most Wanted, as they expected. But the follow-up from Envy, looking for another kill. NikHaro already dead. He wasn't even a part of this one. Ooh. And there's the wraparound. Team Money able to find Plazma.
And that's going to allow Cabom to switch his target to Aquarius. So the Gold Fury going into the way of Most Wanted. Yet again, another ultimate being utilized on DayToRemeber, but the Sanctuary keeping him alive. It's all up to Aquarius to defend this Tier 1 mid tower.
And here comes NikHaro as well. Swinging the cane. Not going to find anybody. But a very important Sanctuary coming out from DayToRemeber right there. Keep in mind that Loki does also add a dot onto you. In addition to all the burst damage, there is a dot thanks to the invisibility maneuver. So DayToRemeber had the Sanctuary out, that damage available.
So now, though, EnVyUs still get at least something in return. They steal the speed buff away. We saw Kiki pushing the left-hand side, getting that tower a little bit low during the downtime of Most Wanted, having to defend that mid-wave. But now Skeeledon trying to respond with a Tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. He's going to be able to get it, going to decoy the wave as well, going to get more farm, and going to walk away with the stealth.
Yeah, and that's the other
side. That's Loki.
That's the other side of Loki as well. You know, similar to the Bastet, he's going to be able to play Assassin and kill you and find some kills, but he's also going to look for some of these split pushes. You can see a little highlight on the teleport there. So Skeeledon going to be omnipresent all across the map as well. Envy still have the lead, although it's slight, 1,500 for the defending SPL team, trying to find their way into the Super Regionals. 17 minutes on the clock, and Most Wanted trying to defend and get aggressive at the same time.
Aquarius, though, caught in an awkward position when proxy farming, and now with the Gold Fury being down, this rotation from EnVyUs is very well timed as they lock down this tanky solo laner.
Yeah, that was just pretty much a bad play coming out from Aquarius. Big mistake coming out from the rookie solo laner, who has had a very successful afternoon so far.
He almost actually got away. He mistimed his ultimate by half a second. Had he caught Kiki during that ultimate as well, he would not have gotten plucked back under that Tier 1 tower, would have definitely walked away from danger. So now this gives EnVyUs about a 5-on-4 power play for 20 seconds. They're grouped up in the mid lane, should be able to lock this one down, but it's only a run of Fafnir, not that much damage online.
Even still, he's able to heal the minions, and that a little extra play out of the minions is able to take down the tower. ManRay and Plazma now looking towards the mid laner Team Money. Gets stunned out, there's the clap, and down he goes. DayToRemeber with the turnaround. And the rotation out of the long lane, 9-6. Most Wanted working their way back into it.
Skeeledon level 17. Loki could look for the rotation. Going Gonna be able to absolutely melt Plazma. The rotation coming from the Aquarius as well, doing a lot of damage. He's gonna get traded out 1-for-1. The jump in by NeiruMah, but Aquarius' ultimate is back up, knocking him under the wall. DayToRemeber forced into the Sanctuary. The snipes from Cabom, though, he has his ultimate, still holding on to it, though.
Kiki's able to get the kill thanks to his aggressive build. A couple of shots out of Cabom, looking for the Bacchus. Not gonna find it, just barely sideways. And ManRay able to chase down Kiki. Support on support. Support on support.
Cabom, though, gets traded out by Aquarius, though, not going to be able to really chase that one kill. He just walks away saying, GG, man, you win. I'm not going to chase you down. So that was about a 1-for-3 trade for Most Wanted because of how overextended EnVyUs was trying to get that tier 1 mid tower. They did secure it, but yet again, that Neith ultimate doing a great job setting up DayToRemeber. He got off the Stellar Burst and the Supernova onto Team Money. Team Money didn't even use either of his relics. He thought he would be fine.
Yeah, no, ManRay just, this has been ManRay's day, honestly. And, you know, the wonderful thing about watching Most Wanted is the fact that ManRay isn't carrying the team, right? The squad is playing very well as a team, but ManRay absolutely taking the limelight. He's looking so strong, and, you know, it's about time, Tully. He has definitely put his time in the Challenger Cup. Sometimes you see these players that just sort of come out of nowhere and they kind of skip college, you know? This guy, he's put in his time, and ManRay, he's absolutely performing at a high level today, so gotta tip my hat to him. He's just playing lights out. So I said that he hasn't been carrying the team. He's the one this game keeping Most Wanted relevant.
Absolutely. The ultimates have been on point. Now ManRay, though, trying to go onto Skeeledon trying to go into ManRay, but the backflip with the purification going to keep him alive. Team Money's ultimate not on the mark there, but all the poke that EnVyUs received in return going to get negated out by that raw heal. Now Kiki forced to go to the right-hand side to defend that tier 1 solo tower. Goldfury has respawned, so without that teleport from Kiki, we could see a 5-on-4 play on the left-hand side for Most Wanted's favor.
Downside to ManRay playing the Physical Hunter here this time around is that the Divine Ruin is not available. So all you really have is the Bacchus, right?
They also have the Brawler's Beatstick onto Plazma just to be able to try to shut down a little bit of healing onto Team Money. So I like that option. Pestilence as well being picked up by Aquarius. As long as they're grouped up and find that one single target with the Nemesis ultimate, they should lock him down. And yet again, Kiki's in mid lane, but he's not going to be here in time with the Wrath to steal this one.
So Most Wanted have the Gold Fury. Nice initiation coming out for the Bacchus. Gold Fury likely to fall. 1,000, and there's the Wrath. Goes the way of Most Wanted. There's an initiation coming out from Xing.
Not gonna hit anybody.
With the ultimate. Nice pancake flip coming out, however, setting up for the other team. It's Cabom that gets the kill onto the Xing. Trying to find the exit. DayToRemeber gets taken out by Skeeledon. Loki doing his job. 7, 2, and 3. 21 minutes in.
And this is the respawn timers that are just so long. Now, Goldfury did go in the way of Most Wanted, but losing 2 members here. 45 seconds for DayToRemeber. 33 for Aquarius. This is not only going to be a tier 1 tower, but an easy tier 2 for EnVyUs.
Yeah, ManRay is the only one to play defense. And in fact, he's not going to do any such thing. Cabom going to take out Plazma, who trades his life for ManRay. Is that the right call?
That's the right call. That was definitely the right call. And now they're going to go into the Phoenix. All 5 members standing strong. 3 members dead for Most Wanted. This is going to be a pretty early Phoenix without the Fire Giant buff. Now Skeeledon, though, having to retreat away. Phoenix still going down, and NikHaro's belly flop is off cooldown.
Yeah, there's a ton of players here just surrounding him. He's going to be in a lot of trouble and just fall down to the wayside. 15 in total for Envy. Most Wanted looking up at them. 9 kills to EnVy's 15, and there's the gold lead, 4,500. And that's EnVy's lead all over it. Last time around, you know, if you were a Most Wanted fan, you could hang your hat on the fact that their composition was a little bit later than the opposition's. This time, however, I think you're looking at a late game Ram. Honestly, late game Loki is just as scary. And on the other side, Most Wanted doesn't really have as many options or answers as they did in game number 1.
Yeah, I think that EnVyUs' team composition is a little bit more team fight oriented as well, with the Fafnir being able to give more attack speed for this Loki and the Ram, as well as just a lot of crowd control that Kiki will provide you. The damage from Skeeledon as well as Team Money is nothing to sneeze at. With a sustain, EnVyUs could keep pressing on here. They do have level 20 onto Skeeledon, 5 levels ahead of Plazma. Plazma playing this Nemesis, just not being able to pull the same kind of weight as his previous games.
Yeah, it's been a little bit troublesome here for Most Wanted.
Skeeledon looking for Plazma yet again underneath. He gets spotted out by Kiki.
And he's still wrapping around, has the ultimate available to him. Plazma turns around, and Skeeledon gets the turnaround. A couple of shots will do it. Shield is going to secure it. A couple of basics, and Skeeledon gets him with the dot. Plazma, no chance to get out of there that time.
NikHaro trying to find the belly flop, but no real follow-up, though. Nice backflip negating T-Money's ultimate, but the chase goes on. Kiki's going to be able to slow him down. There's no backflip available. Sanctuary's not going to be good enough. That's 2 members dead for Most Wanted.
Skeeledon finds another. That's number 9. For the jungler. Keely walking into Team Money right there. But Envy now double the kills of Most Wanted.
We could see another game 3 here.
I think we might, totally. Envy certainly playing like they don't want to go down without a fight. They don't want to surrender into the night.
Aquarius though, he's here. He has the wrath. He has the wrath, but he uses double jump away, so he has to get out of dodge. EnVyUs could commit with a sprint potentially that they have. But it's going to be the ultimate defensively, trying to get away from danger. The double jump yet again. The Loki ultimate coming on out. That's going to be another member dead. Most Wanted just getting picked off one by one.
Love the spread from Envy, immediately recognizing the fact that Aquarius is ulti, and they immediately spread. They just understand the mechanic coming out from Xing Chen. 2 players dead. Scratch that, make that 1. Is ManRay just going to spawn right about now? And another thing, we haven't touched on it because Loki hasn't needed to split push, but Loki's incredibly adept when it comes to killing towers.
Absolutely. The decoy will eliminate that backdoor protection. Having the hi-rez lament doesn't really do anything too much to the tower, but once he does finish off that crusher, which he just did now, selling off that Bummer's mask, this last remaining mid tier 2 tower and Phoenix will fall.
Well, hi-rez does have the effect on the tower similar to Polynomicon on the magical side of things, so that will amplify things, but just by a little bit.
So now the rest of EnVyUs, though, thinking about their options, they're just going to grab their red buff in return, and then they're going to start grouping up in the mid lane, trying to get this last remaining Phoenix. They're looking like they want to press on and get this set into game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, Envy, they certainly, they're feeling some type of way. They don't want to lose this one, and right now they're playing like they don't have an option to lose this one, because they don't. This is the knockout game, folks. So, toppling the tier 2 tower. Envy still pushing, but a little bit cautious here. They don't want to go all in just yet, and I think that bodes well for them.
EnVyUs just waiting for that right timing. They have to find somebody isolated for Skeeledon to really pick off. This is going to be an easy left side Phoenix to exploit. Cabom, though, getting bursted quite heavily with an Intoxicate Supernova combo in the backline. Skeeledon committed. T-Money's ultimate didn't do enough, and Skeeledon's going to be the first victim.
ManRay is able to start this one off right for him and his team. Most Wanted, they watch as their Phoenix falls down, but they're able to get the kill on a Skeeledon.
That's a clean kill, though. They did lose their Phoenix in the process, but this could mean that Most Wanted could chase down EnVyUs if they elected to do so, but they have to deal with the left side and the right side fire minions that could trickle down the Titan room. One set of fire minions will take about 20 to 25% of the Titan's health, so you have to always be attentive of those waves.
I mean, we saw what happens if you let too many fire minions get into your base. You get your game soloed by a chalk, right? So
just chalk, man.
Most Wanted able to take a game in the earlier set if you're just joining us, because they were able to take down a couple of Phoenixes. The fire minions trickled in, and then Aquarius playing chalk just sort of walked into the base and soloed the Titan because he was so low. So Envy, now that they've been able to take 2 Phoenixes, Most Wanted have to be aware of that situation, and that's why you see these players splitting up and really pushing up these two lanes on the outside. That's going to keep their Titan safe for a little bit and give them some breathing room.
Well, 12,000 gold in the lead is EnVyUs. They have the 2 Phoenixes that they wanted to originally. They also got the tier 2 mid tower. They could start grouping up. They have the Fire Giant buff for 40 seconds, but instead, not really enough time to group up all the way down that side of the map. So just going to try to look for their own buffs, Sentry Ward around the map, and look for somebody out of position. In the jungle is where EnVyUs really has a lot of strengths, trying to isolate members. Kiki can look for the plucks around the corners. Skeeledon can be waiting very safely around mid lane if he wants to, waiting for that right timing to jump on in. And then Cabom can also play very far away and then just assist with his snipes if there's anybody low enough.
Right now, Most Wanted What's their best bet? They're down over 10,000 gold. Obviously, they're relevantly down the gold because they don't have the items to combat against EnVy, and EnVy have their 2 Phoenixes down. What's Most Wanted's best play?
Their best play is to burst Skeeledon. He doesn't have the Sanctuary, so it's very easy to get off confirmed damage. Now, he does have the Purification to maybe get away, but if he commits the ultimate to find a kill, and he doesn't find it, then Most Wanted can easily counter-engage here. And as well as avoiding T-Money's ultimate, which is obviously easier said than done, but so far, they've been relatively successful at being able to separate away from that long-distance beam. But now, EnVyUs looking to group up on the right-hand side of the jungle, looking for that initial pick.
Right now, Most Wanted, like you heard from Tolly, they've got to be able to isolate the Skeeledon, but Skeeledon right now is just sort of grouped up. Rather not grouped up.
He could easily find us.
My eyes deceived me. I thought he was Team Money. So Skeeledon isolating himself, but he's just looking. This is the split push that we were talking about. Ooh. And he's going to be chased out, stunned out, and hit by a Phoenix, so he's below half HP. The rest of EnVy able to take out that right side by themselves.
It was all an elaborate ruse coming out of Skeeledon as the rest of EnVyUs being able to secure that right side Phoenix. And now this gives them enough of a timing window where they could secure this Fire Giant because left side is still being flooded in with the Fire Minion waves. Plasma having to deal with that one. It's going to allow EnVyUs this Fire Giant for free yet again.
Yeah, that one's just going to go uncontested. Free, 50 free. The Fire Giant is around EnVy's waists, 77,000 gold, almost doubling the kills on Most Wanted, 19 to 10. And in our 29th minute, almost 30, EnVy now pushing up the mid lane. Could be the final push of the game, depending on how this team fight goes. There's only 1 Phoenix available, and this is going to be it.
T-Money!
T-Money just gets annihilated. The Sanctuary forced out very early, but the Phoenix going to fall down as well. Surrounding the mid laner, still going to be surviving. ManRay finds a kill. NeiruMah able to find the answer back. Skeeledon gets one as well. Very lower players on both sides of the coin, but Most Wanted have the most players dead. It's 2-1 as far as our dead players are concerned. DayToRemeber answers back. Kiki gets the kill on DayToRemeber. That might be the final nail in the coffin. NeiruMah confirms it, and the last target is going to be your support. Down goes the fat man after Cabom finally finds his shots. And there it is. The Hunter finds it. Everybody dead. The Most Wanted. All they got is Titan. That one's dead. We're going to a game 3.
This is such exciting play yet again from Most Wanted and EnVyUs. Now, EnVyUs has been controlling that second game, pace of the game, surprisingly enough from Skeeledon. He's been able to make it work. You know, it wasn't so successful with the Bastat split pushing, but instead electing to go for Loki, which has a similar style, but instead getting the guaranteed kills. Now, he overcommitted when he got first blooded earlier on when he overcommitted onto NikHaro. Unfortunately, T-Money's ultimate wasn't in sync with that, but he managed to make a good comeback, being able to invade some buffs here and there when the opportunity arose, and that allowed EnVyUs the momentum heading into the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this game really was brought to you by one man and one man only. It was Skeeledon. He played the risky Loki jungle pick. A couple of items and changes have brought this character a little bit more relevantly into the jungle, and Skeeledon really the first player to really dive in there and see how well it would work, and, well, it certainly worked. EnVyUs just played fantastically around Skeeledon, enabling Skeeledon to really be the driver and just making the dirty Loki matter.
And even though like he would find some kills, they still responded to the Loki a little bit, but once it got to the late game phase, it just didn't matter. And ManRay as well was still doing a lot of work in these team fights, playing the Neith. He found 2 early kills with the World Weaver and was making it such a huge impact. We didn't touch on his build, but he went for a very heavy physical power build with a Transcendence, a lot of penetration items, trying to synergize with his abilities.
Yeah, he also went the way of hi-rez himself, knowing that he's an ability-based character and looking for those, you know, those late-game big smacks. And ManRay still staying relevant, and even in this loss, making himself a big point of contention. Unfortunately for him and his fans, they'll fall down. We'll head to a game number 3.